VTE do an investment ready guide, and I read through that, and that kind of gave me some clarity in terms of which way to go. So we decided we could raise funds at that point without dilution, but the impact of having an investor come on, that particular investor come on the team, was he was corporate, not entrepreneurial perspective, so he was interested in how it was done today in terms of a product and IT product and services company runs in a particular way. And this is the mould that you're going to do it in, not how we wanted to be able to do things. He wanted to get involved in day-to-day operational involvement, so I was getting, he was based in Brisbane, so I was getting emails at kind of all hours of the night and he wanted to have, his agenda was around his timing and what he wanted to do and what was going on in his life, not what was needed for our business. So ditched that, but it did help us clarify our vision and strategy, helped we made sure we completed our shareholders agreement, we did work out our funding requirements, and we also restructured at that point through that process into a marketing company and a technology company. So part of that is just to protect the IP, so it's in its own company, and then the marketing company can go off and do the sales and marketing and implementations. And the biggest thing I learned was that he didn't know any more than we did. And he wasn't adding anything to the process. So the advice I'd have is, if you're looking at those angel investors, you've got to make sure that they're bringing the right skills, not just the cash, and that they can work in with you because they do become part of the team. So August 2007, we got a second crunch point. Rob came and he announced that he'd taken a full-time job and he could no longer commit time or sweat equity to what we were doing. So the impact was, this is somebody that we'd been working along with, that we had the same vision with. It's kind of like you're in a relationship with them, you're sharing it as you go along, and you've got these dreams and these hopes about what you're going to do. So it was emotionally quite difficult to work through that process. It also meant we had an immediate skills gap because what he bought, we didn't have that skill set. We had to reassess our status. Should we continue? What should we do? But at that point, we made a recommitted, I guess, to keep going. But now our team was, instead of Julie, Rob and Leo, it was now Julie and Leo. But in October, and through this time we were talking to different people. In October 2007 we got our first implementation, and it was in Australia. It was through our networking contacts, and it was an Australian startup insurance company. And we collaborated with another New Zealand company who did application for online sales and underwriting, which is used by Pinnacle Life. And the client, because they were a startup, but they'd come out of corporate, they were entrepreneurial, but they were professional, and we were back in project mode, so it was familiar territory for us, and it was some real money. And we could get back to having a real team. So we were in kind of operational mode. I could do the project management and the commercials. The developers could complete the system. We were lucky enough that one of our original team members was free on contract, so he came back for a period of 3 months to work with us doing the testing and the training. And we did try some different models for our developers. And I just want to talk a little bit about this in terms of how to get flexible resource to build that team. So one of our developers had come back and we offered him a permanent job, but it was permanent and he'd been used to contract, and it wasn't quite the same. It wasn't that motivated about what needed to happen, and in the end he went to Christchurch for family reasons. A web developer that we'd been using moved to Wellington, but we still wanted to use him because his attitude was the right attitude and we got on quite well with him, and because he was used to running his own business and a small business, he understood the dynamics of where we were at and what we needed. We inherited a web developer because at this point we'd taken on supporting the online distribution and underwriting system, and he didn't fit our culture at all. First day he'd come back from lunch and he'd obviously had a few drinks. He didn't look like he'd had a wash for about a week, and he could kind of do the code, but his idea of turning up to work, when he said start early, he would turn up at 1 o'clock and he would go home at 4 o'clock because he had to beat the traffic. And he was kind of And so you would text him to try and get hold of him, and you never could. And every about every third Monday he's sick. He has a tummy bug. So it wasn't the kind of person that we were used to working with, but we still use him, and he still works with us. And the reason is because he's a good developer. We now have him working remotely. We only bring him into the office when we need to. Really manage him quite tightly in terms of what his deliverables are, but he's flexible. He doesn't want a 40-hour bums on the seat job. He's happy to get X amount of money, and so for where we're at, although he's not my ideal team member, he's the right person to bring on at this point. And we also took on another developer who didn't have the right skill set and didn't fit with our culture, so I had to sack him after a short period of time. So you have to be if you do bring on people that don't fit with what you're trying to do, you've got to get rid of them. We outsourced our infrastructure for our clients. Again, another partnership that we've got with OneNet, who do all our hosting for our Australia and New Zealand clients. And they're just like they're part of our team. When we need something, we can phone them up, they understand our business, and they can respond immediately. So when we say the website's down or the customers can't do something, they understand that that's really important to us, and so they'll sort it straight away. And also our legal person's part of the team. So early 2008, we had our first client. We were back in project mode. It was looking great, and then it was like, oh, well, what next? Like, where's our next sale coming from, and how are we going to keep building a sustainable business? Because that's what my whole focus is. There's no point going from implementation to implementation. It's got to be a business, so that the business model is we're earning income from the services work, from our ongoing support and maintenance work, and from our licenses. So we had our first kind of near miss. We had a major global insurer that did the OK locally to put in one of our modules. And it was all yes, it's all go. And then it went to Hong Kong, and they went, no, we've got a development centre somewhere, we're going to develop it. So it's other lesson is, as you go through, it's not a yes till someone's signed on the dotted line, and you can think that you're just about there, and your optimism carries you away. But the reality is, until they've signed for it, then it's not a go. We also had notice to quit our office, and in the last, from February to October, we ended up going through 4 lots of office space till we found the right space that we're in now. But by now we're supporting 2 clients, so there was no going back. We couldn't say, oh, I'm sick of this idea, let's just ditch it, because we'd made these commitments that we needed to follow up with. So our team, in terms of business as usual, like now we were in support mode and business operational mode. Those doing client relationships and new business development, some external consulting, because it still needed to bring some money in. It still wasn't self-funding enough, well, not to pay me this kind of money that I want to get paid. Which is, I guess, another key point is that I'm not doing this so that I can earn half of what I can earn if I'm in the market, because I know what I should be able to earn. So I want a salary that's commensurate with my skills, or there's no point doing it. So for us, it was that not going backwards meant we could pay ourselves a proper salary. We were doing client support and system development. We had 2 developers that are experienced and they were part-time, and we brought on someone to do our testing, who happened to be, one of the officers was the office administrator, and one day, because she had nothing to do most of the time, we gave her some testing. And she was okay at it. In fact, she was very good at it. And she was so good, she was better than most of the full-time professional test people that we'd had doing it before. She'd finished a marketing degree, she'd recently graduated, and she had done some of the work within the web space. So she was interested in what we were doing, and she was fresh, I guess, and we could train her up. So she now works for us part-time. And all of that's around flexibility of resource and being able to manage the cost. Because startup companies that we're selling to aren't big fat insurance companies, so they don't have the big fat budgets. So they've got lean, mean budgets, and so you have to be able to make your offer